The creature capture genre has been in a really weird place for a long time now because on one hand it's still insanely popular. People clearly love these types of games, but on the other hand, it hasn't really changed all that much, and now we're finally starting to see that shift happen. So if you end up liking this video, hit that subscribe button because there's a lot to talk about here, because for the first time in a while, developers are actually messing with the formula, not just slightly tweaking it, not just adding small features, but actually changing how these games work. And there's been a lot happening recently. Updates, announcements, release dates, a ton of stuff across different platforms. And a surprising amount of it is focused on creature capture games, which is not something I expect to be saying right now, but the one we have to start with is Voidling Bound. Voidling Bound is out now on Steam, and this game is doing something that you almost never see in this genre, because instead of capturing creatures, instead of standing there and commanding them, you are the creature. And that immediately changes everything. The game takes place inside the consciousness of the Voidlings themselves. So you're not just in a world with them, you're inside their mind. It's got that kind of Matrix style idea going on. Reality isn't exactly what it seems, and you're diving deeper into what these creatures actually are. But the real hook is how that translates into gameplay, because you're playing as the Voidlings. You move as them, you fight as them, you evolve as them, and that completely changes how the whole system works, because now every unlock actually matters. You're not just filling out a collection, you're unlocking new ways to play, different movement, different abilities, different combat styles, and the combat itself is fully action-based. No waiting around, no turn-based systems. You're constantly moving, dodging, attacking, reacting, which already puts it in a completely different category. Then you've got the DNA evolution system. You go out into the world, collect materials, and use them to evolve your Voidlings into new forms. And on top of that, you've got eggs scattered throughout the world. You find them, you hatch them, and that unlocks new Voidlings with new abilities. So the loop becomes explore, find eggs, hatch them, evolve, repeat. But here's the difference. It actually changes how the game feels every time. And that's something this genre has struggled with for years. Because a lot of games give you tons of creatures, but once you're actually using them, they don't feel that different. Voidling Bound avoids that by making each one matter. Now yeah, you can tell it's trying things. Some parts feel experimental, but that's what happens when you actually push something forward, and that's where this whole conversation starts to open up, because Voidling Bound isn't the only game doing this right now, which brings us to the next one, Palworld. We have to talk about Palworld because this game already blew up once and now it's about to hit again. When Palworld first released, it was everywhere. Clips, memes, videos, everyone talking about it, because at first glance it looks like a normal creature capture game. Cute designs, bright world, collectible creatures, and then you actually play it and realize it's doing something completely different, because your pals aren't just companions, they're part of everything. You use them in combat, you assign them to work, you build your entire base around them, they help you survive, gather resources, run systems. It's not just creature capture anymore, it's survival, crafting, base building, automation, and now it's getting a full 1.0 update on July 10th, and this is where it gets interesting, because the developers themselves have said, you'll get the full experience if you start fresh, which tells you everything. This isn't just a small update, this is a full overhaul, new pals, major system changes, a much more complete version of the game. Because if you played it at launch, you already know it felt like a strong foundation. But still a foundation, this update is trying to turn it into the full experience, and depending on how it lands, Palworld could easily become one of the biggest games in this genre. Now at this point we've got two completely different directions. One game where you become the creature, one game where creatures are part of an entire system, and then we've got something else coming. Dragon Quest Monsters, the Withered Worlds. This one's releasing December 3rd, 2026, Switch, Switch 2 and Steam, and this is where things go back toward the classic formula. You explore, you recruit monsters, you build your team, you battle, but the key thing here is fusion. Instead of just collecting monsters, you combine them. You take two creatures, merge them and create something new, and that changes progression completely. Because now it's not just about what you find, it's about what you create. You experiment, try different combinations, push the system, and eventually you end up with something completely broken, in the best way possible. And that's always been the appeal of this series. Now they're expanding that even more. More monsters, more fusion paths, more combinations. which means more freedom. And compared to the other games, this feels familiar, but it still fits into the bigger picture because even here, the genre is evolving. More depth, more control, more ways to play, and this is where everything connects because you've got 3 games, 3 completely different approaches, same genre, and that's the shift. For the longest time, creature capture games were predictable. Now, they're not. And that's what makes this interesting, because developers are finally taking risks. They're trying new systems, new ideas, new ways to make these games feel different, and not all of them are going to work. Some will fail, some will feel weird, some just won't land, but that's how genres evolve. You experiment, you push things forward, you figure out what actually works, and eventually something sticks. And when it sticks, it changes everything. That's how we got here in the first place, and now it's happening again. The creature capture genre is going through that shift, branching out, expanding, trying new things, and somewhere in all of that, there's going to be a game that sets the new standard. It might be Voidling Bound, it might be Palworld after 1.0, it might be something we haven't even seen yet, but it's coming, and when it does, that's when the genre fully changes. Alright, that's going to do it for this one. If anything new comes our way, I'll keep you up to date. If you like this video, hit that like and subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next one.